we're going through an expansion at the moment, and we should have a new factory by the start of next year, an extension. The main reason we went with PSL was when they did the demo for us in our office, the way that the information was presented, very, very similar to the way we had our own original information.
Welcome to today's MTDCNC podcast. I'm joined by leaders in the industry, is that fair to say? Phil Smith and Geoff Gartland. Phil from Wealdpark Limited and BTMA, and Geoff from, I've got to get this right because last time we did a podcast I got your company wrong, didn't I?
Yeah, shocking, Colin.
I've got it right this time. It's PSL Datatrack.
Well done.
How's that? Good start. 30 seconds in, we've got it right. So I need to clarify those. So we're going to talk about a little bit about BTMA and find out what it means. I mean, you probably all know out there, but just to clarify. Second, a bit about Wealdpark. And then thirdly, the main reason we're here, he says, is to find out how Wealdpark have tied in with the BTMA and then have tied that all in together with PSL and really helped your business grow. And I'm throwing out that statement there. I'd like to clarify, it is a podcast, it is audio. I think Geoff's, just to let you know at home or those who are listening, Geoff is doing this from home because he is in some opulent settings in the background. It's all carved, ornate oak, I'm thinking. Is that correct?
It certainly is, Colin. It's a very ornate background. I'm pleased that Phil's been to, well, in fact, you've both been to the building. I'm actually sitting in what used to be the entrance hall to the building, which they've left as original from about 120 odd years ago. But it's the only space they could find me today.
So I'm thinking, let's be honest here. We need to start with honesty here, Phil. So it's the east wing of your mansion, isn't it?
I'm just waiting for the butler to go past. You've got Carsten there somewhere, haven't you?
No, I'm sending him away.
A bit like Downton Abbey. Absolutely. Anyway, moving on swiftly. So those who can't enjoy the video, so I'm going to move back to Phil. Phil, two sort of companies. Well, you've got Wealdpark, obviously, but the BTMA. First of all, those who don't know, well, Phil Smith, what does a BTMA stand for?
British Turn Parts Manufacturers Association.
There you go. Yeah. And what does it do? And yeah, tell me more about it, please.
Basically, we're the trade association, British Turn Parts Manufacturers, machine components, kind of the best of British manufacturing as regarding turning and a little bit of milling. When the BTMA was founded, probably, I think we've gone back 100 years for documented evidence of that. And, in that day, it would have been, cam autos, basic lathes and stuff like that. Today,
we still see those types of machines running strong though.
You do, yeah. There's nothing wrong with them. But we were founded in 1965 as a cam auto shop. But I think where you look at the majority of BTMA members now, we've all advanced, we've all invested, and we're investing in our own companies. We're investing in the country. In the most modern machinery that we can get hold of, fixed head lathes, sliding head lathes. They're all mill turn, and a lot of our members have similar machinery.
Two things then. Are you still running some older? Is it MEMEC, the old plug boards?
No, not anymore. No, not anymore.
But
we did have a container outside with a couple of 48 BSAs and an MEMEC. Just in case, but they went a while ago.
Well, we visited a company called Patent Fasters over in Birmingham, and they still run some MEMECs, still going strong. I'm not sure they park health and safety, but we'll move on swiftly. I don't want to drop the guys in it. So, I mean, sometimes though, from personal experience outside of the engineering industry, some of these sort of boards and trade associations, it's a lot of hot air. Now, that's quite a sweeping statement from Colin there, and I'm not implying that you guys are, and Phil's having a right chuckle. He's nearly fallen off his chair there, because that was quite... I hope it wasn't too blunt, but people, what value do you guys add?
I think the biggest thing for us, we had a strap line a couple of years ago, Stronger Together, and as a body of manufacturers, there's an immense amount of knowledge there. Now, bear in mind that we all have exactly the same problems. Wherever we are in the country, we have the same issues. But you've got a body of guys there that you can talk to openly, and somebody's always got an answer to your problem. Somebody will come to the meetings, and you do have the same guys normally who'll come to the meetings with issues, and somebody's got an answer to that problem, or we've come across it before.
Right.
When you get sort of changes in legislation regarding health and safety, and when there's differences in materials and chemicals, we've got technical members to back us up with really, really good advice on how to tackle things. And
that ties in nicely with having Geoff, because they're a technical member. Is that correct? Or Geoff, over to you. You're a technical member.
Yeah, it's true. We're technical members. Yeah, so we don't obviously machine anything ourselves. We supply software for production control. So that's to help companies, the full members who are subcontractors, to manage their business from quote all the way through to their invoice.
There you go. I will come back to you in a moment, Phil. But rest assured. So back to you, Phil. I keep calling you Phil, Geoff. Sorry, I do apologise. I don't know. It's been a long day already, and I'm just back from holiday. Golfing, feel like that, because golf. Phil, you play off quite good handicap. I know people don't want to hear this, but quickly, what'd you play off?
Current index is 2.2.
Way too much. Way too efficient with PSL Datatrack, and way too efficient with your sliders and your fixed head machines.
I'd like to spend more time in the office.
I've got to say, I've got the same numbers in my handicap. I'm not sure about the decimal point.
Fair enough. Now we will move on swiftly, but it's not just any old person. I mean, obviously, it's in the name, term part. So your sliders and your fixed head machines. I mean, we joke about your Cam Autos and your MMX and things like that. Things have moved on massively, but it is you guys. It's quite an exclusive club, isn't it? I mean, there's been a few. Can I say people blackballed? Is that right?
I wouldn't necessarily say blackball, but we do sort of vet all our applicants get vetted by the applications come into the director, and he puts them in front of the officers, and we do sort of vet the people that apply, because they're not all suitable. We don't take on every applicant. It's not sort of a said thing that you apply and you get it immediately, because we do sort of have a standard that we want to achieve. We sort of look at ISO accreditation is a number one, ISO 9000 accreditation. But we look at the size of the company, how long they've been going. So there is a vetting that goes on. Now, whether you can say that's selective or not, I don't know. But there is a few that we've not taken on.
Yeah, is that a polite way of saying there's a few rogues out there and you don't want them involved?
Yes, yeah. The wording's quite apt, but it is. And the same thing, like we get a lot of applications for technical membership, and you can sort of read between the lines in some of these services that they offer, and basically they just want access to your database of members to flog the stuff. So with the technical member, we want them to add value to our association. So if it's something that as a manufacturing member we're going to benefit from their service, we'll look at it and take it seriously. But if it's something like, I don't know, so what's the latest one we've had? Something to do with insurance, and you just think like they're just trying to flog your service, and then they're not going to be around once they've sort of gone through your membership list. But we don't want that. If you join the BTMA, we want you to be part of it and stay and be an active part of it. Come to the meetings, offer support, offer benefits to it. It's the biggest benefit of being a member is going to the meetings and talking to the people. And it might not necessarily be within the meeting. It might be you're having a coffee break or you're having lunch, and you sort of go and talk to somebody about something that was mentioned. And you don't learn something every meeting, but you do learn something every year.
Yeah, so it is really adding value, but also, like I say, adding your technical members. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, and it is only one company that does production control, so software. So why have you chosen or accepted Geoff and the team?
So when we were looking to update our systems, probably 10 or 15 years ago now, we did look at a lot of a lot of different providers. Even though Geoff's was the only company in the BTMA, we didn't restrict it to that.
And I'm going to I'm going to take back. So why for the not for Wealdpark, but for the BTMA? Why did you accept Geoff's company as opposed to other software providers for production?
That would have been way before my time.
I remember some of the history. If you'd like me to comment.
Oh, sorry.
More about that than me, Geoff.
Yeah, well, certainly.
Wafting past you there, Geoff. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm still awake. Yeah.
No, it's all far from it. But
yeah, no, certainly. If we go back to 2003, we joined the BTMA, and it was obviously the reason it came about. We had at that time, it's fair to say, a fair number of our users were members of the BTMA, and I think it was one of our now longest-standing customers that suggested, well, why don't we become part of this association? And that's really where the conversation went from there. So it was because we had more than one customer that was already a member. Therefore, there was reputation. People were able to vouch for how they felt about how we operated as a company. I think to some extent, businesses have morals as well. It's not just finances, the procedures, everything else. It's how you do business. And I think that's a really important thing as well. I think for any business that you should be upstanding. And I hope we are. I'd like to think we are.
Most definitely. Now, those of you, so we've done a bit about the BTMA. Geoff, people who don't know PSL Datatrack, I've mentioned the fact it's production control software, but in a nutshell, give me a quick overview of the company. You've got 30 seconds.
Of the company, okay. So we were formed in 1988 to supply software solely to subcontract precision engineers. We started out with an SPC calculation in the early days. That didn't run for very long. We then got into DOS in terms of putting the database together for production control, and that was really where we saw more growth in our strengths and skills. And then over the years, obviously DOS started to die out as you go through the 90s. Windows 95 came out.
What is this DOS you talk of?
What's this DOS? Yeah, we can skim past that one, Colin. It's old-fashioned.
I think I'm the oldest out of the three of you, aren't I? So
I'm not so sure. And then as Windows became more prevalent, we then developed a Windows system, and let's say the rest is history in terms of the systems evolved and developed from there. I know that was more than 30 seconds.
Absolutely, but essentially, I want to install this software. What will it actually do? I know production control. But enlighten me.
Yeah,
I don't want to do every single module.
No, quite right. Well, it's important. The system's modular, and that's really key because no two subcontract precision engineering businesses are identical. Yes, they're all going to have machines. They're all going to bring in material, different accreditation, different customers, different processes. So the system has to adapt to the size and scope of what they need. Everyone has to do a quotation. You get a customer inquiry, you've got a quote. So whether you quote on a system or you quote on a spreadsheet or a sheet of paper, you've got to think about process, times, hourly rates, material, markups, subcon processes, costs, markups, and so on. So it's all got to go into the mix anyway. And that's really where we start with Datatrack. It forms the quotation. You fill in the variables, it does the calculation for you. You get your quote letter. Obviously, Phil's got experience, so he can comment on it for you. But from there on, I like to describe the quotation in Datatrack as being the software version of setting a machine. You've put all the tools in the software, in effect. From there on, the system effectively goes into cycle. You put on a works order, all the information pulls through. You need the material, all the information pulls through to your purchase order. You book it in, all the traceability is there. If you don't use all the material, you've got leftover. It's all still fully traced. You can then obviously get to the point of sending a job out for a subcon process, splitting batches. It's all catered for. And obviously at the back end, you'll get a delivery note, a COC, an invoice. And then the important thing is, in that middle area, you can branch off into scheduling, gauge calibration, non-conformance, tool setup sheets. It's really a case of what other areas do you wish to systemize? So it's quite wide-ranging.
Yeah, so three key things there, I think. It all sort of really starts from the quote system. Get that in, and it's very simple to use. But then you've got a load of modules, and there's always not contention, but we're at 26 modules. You can have one module or you can have them all. Depends on what you want. And then you build it around that, and it's simple, really simple to use. And it's but another key point is engineering specific. It's not for someone said it's not for hairdressers and things like. I know hairdressers is probably not the right example, but it's not for other manufacturing or assembly parts. It's for subcontract engineers.
It is. It's not just a general manufacturing system that's been, if you like, pushed towards that sector. It's designed from the ground up for subcontract precision engineering.
Brilliant, perfect. Okay, so there you go. That sold PSL Datatrack to me, but you also sold it to Phil. Phil, you've had it for some time now. Why did you go there? Why did you go the PSL route?
The main reason we went with PSL was when they did the demo for us in our office, the way that the information was presented was very, very similar to the way we had our own original information. So it looked virtually identical to what we were doing. It was just better linked in. That is the main reason that we went for it. Quite simple to use.
What were you doing? I'm assuming you were using the everybody's favourite, the Excel spreadsheet.
We had a C. I mean, going back to we were formed in 1965. It was pieces of cards in a Cardex file, and it was that well into the 90s. I sort of came in 89, and by the time I'd worked into the office, in mid 90s, and the card system was just so outdated. We'll do a set of spreadsheets. So I designed spreadsheets based on the card system we had. And then you look at Datatrack and you think, yeah, it's laid out pretty much similar to what we've got there. It just makes sense to link it all in. And that's the way we went.
There you go. So you've decided, I mean, there are other options. I'm assuming there are other, I know there are other software options out there. What sold PSL Datatrack above the others? Was it just that simplicity?
It wasn't that simple. I mean, I did speak to a lot of people, obviously within the BTMA, who were using Datatrack. I asked them was there any issues? None ever came back. So it was a pretty, once I'd seen the thing in the demo, once I'd seen all the software in the demo, I was really comfortable with the decision that we're going to go with Datatrack, because I didn't have any issues with the company. It was just the way that the software was going to work, and once that was resolved, not a problem.
And these days, we've all been mentioning COVID or whatever. Geoff would have been up to your office, I'm assuming. Now, Geoff, you can do it. You can go to the office, or you can do it online.
To be honest, yeah. In fact, Colin, whilst you touched on that, if I can just deviate slightly, just back to when you talked about BTMA earlier, just one point I wanted to interject was, Phil, you said about people have answers and so on, someone comes with a problem. One of the really important things I just thought about the COVID, which is how we're connected, during the COVID lockdown, in effect, being a member of the BTMA, personally, I found really supportive, because going through that period, you could feel really quite isolated, even if you were going to work but then going straight home. Being able to then still take part in meetings and discuss ideas, I think was invaluable. I think certainly in terms of mindset, keeping a positive focus on things, really good. And I think COVID meant that Zoom really took over and became a bit of a life changer. And I certainly, going back to the early days of then, I remember speaking to one of our customers, and he said, this is going to be permanent. This is really going to change things. And early on, I thought, really? No, I'm sure we'll go back to the old methods. And then once you get used to it after a short while, you just see the benefits are immense. I used to do so many miles driving around the country. Now I don't need to. It's now selective trips out, because most of us expect meetings to be over Zoom or similar.
You're going to get a much better residual value on your Bentley, aren't you?
Yeah, I wish. I think it's a Tonka Bentley. Tonka, does that still exist?
What you say is true, though, because this podcast, previously, we'd have probably had to get you all into the studio, or I'd come down to where you are. We're doing this over a system at the moment, Zencaster. Other systems are available, as in what you mentioned, Zoom. Other systems are available, but,
Well, certainly for us, in terms of demonstrations, it provides the opportunities to do more than one demonstration. We can do an initial demo without too much time. Here's a feel of what we do. Is this does this feel like it's going in the right direction for you? If it does, brilliant. Let's now arrange a further Zoom, fill in a bit more detail. So I think it's less disruptive to the potential customer, because they're not committing a whole day. Phil, if you think back to when we came to see you, pretty much was a whole day, because we came to see you, we wanted to make sure we get as much out of that day as possible.
Yeah. He could have been on the golf course, couldn't he?
Maybe. That'd be a nice idea, wouldn't it? But no,
to throw that in there, Phil, with your 2.5 handicap.
Filling in though, over video calls is also great for training as well, because training when the system went into Wealdpark, it was days on site, and that worked. But now we're able to provide training over video calls as well. And what we've really found is that it provides opportunity between sessions to practice. So whereas we'd have needed to, if you like, bombard Wealdpark with, look, here's all the information you need to know, it worked because Phil and the rest of his family that took part knew what was going on in their business. So they didn't struggle with where's the system going. But it's not the case with everywhere where we put a system in. Not everyone's familiar with all the business flow. So breaking it into bite-sized chunks, giving people time to practice between sessions, to be honest, cuts down the overall training time, and we find that customers go live with the system quicker.
Yeah. So using it, and one module at a time, sort of thing, using it, getting used to it, and then moving on.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Now, Phil, you've moved away from your Excel spreadsheets. How easy was that transition? Because there must have been, well, you say, was it 1963? So 40 odd years of data.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it didn't matter what system you were going to put in. There was always going to be a massive concentration at the start of it with the data input. So we didn't put historical stuff on. We kept that as it was, spreadsheet, put it to one side. That's in one file. We can look back when we need to. It's day one. Let's start from scratch. There is a massive requirement to sort of sit there for a few days putting material codes in or creating material codes, and basically the quotations, because typical in our industry, you get a lot of repeat work, so everything sort of comes around pretty quickly. So putting the information in to get a full sort of database of your information didn't take that long. Probably within 12 months, maybe. We had all the sort of stuff on that we did regularly, but you did have to sit there and create your sort of machining parameters, etc.
That initial investment in time, I mean, we've all done it. We've got a new system, we've got to invest this time, but longer term, it's paid off a load of benefits.
Without doubt, because like now, you do quotations now in lightning speed compared to how you used to be able to do it. It's so easy to do, and to create a quote, what we're going to make it out of 20 mil CZ121. You've got the weights and everything for that material. You don't have to work anything out. How many am I making? What's the length of the part? Blah blah blah. Bang bang. You don't.
Easy.
Can I just pick up one of the key things, which I think is really important, what you said there, Phil, about sort of 12 months you had everything entered, because one of the critical things with any system you put in is you need to get familiarity. You need to make sure you have enough base data in there. So one of the early stages, make sure your customers and suppliers are in this. You don't keep stopping every 5 minutes to go and find another customer or supplier, those kind of things. Your common materials, get those in there, because you're going to be diving off each few minutes to define those. But you'll never define everything you need to know or everything the system needs, because there'll be jobs that come around once every 4 months or whatever. So why put that in until you get the inquiry? So it's the base data, and then it's the, if you like, almost polishing the system, putting in the extras as you go. And that's what makes it slot in, I think, rather than be an enormous bit of work that doesn't pay off. You build it up as you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, gentlemen, I'm not wishing to hurry along, but I'm aware that time is running on already. So a few other things. You say you've done it over 12 months, 4 months, 12 months, etc. Has the system developed as your company? Phil, this is to you. Has the system changed and developed as your company's changed and developed and grown?
Yeah, I mean, there's a new release virtually every year with improvements and most of the improvements come from customer feedback. So we will feedback something into Datatrack, as will all the other customers. Is it possible for us to do X, Y, Z, whatever it is? And they'll look at it, and it might not come out in next year's issue, but it might come out the year after when they've sorted it out. But for us, it has improved. We now we use the status boards now. We use the QA side, the non-conformance side, and invoicing. Because I took over when we bought the system, we had an accounts office manager, and he looked at the system and he said if you get that system, he said, that's me out of a job, and he was right. That's how it happened. But for the interaction with our Sage account software, it's literally click done. And
let's just clarify, you didn't just boot this guy out. He was going to retire, and you got him a job at the golf club anyway, didn't you?
Have I told you this story before?
No, I've done my
I was
research.
waiting for that to come out.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, he worked for us for 15 years. Scratch golfer, played for Lancashire. He did a lot, and we were coming in. I think it was sort of coming into, Geoff. I might be wrong with this, but there was some kind of one of the recessions was looming as we were
2008.
installing Datatrack,
Yeah.
and there was a position came at the golf club for the secretary manager, and I said to Gary jokingly, "You should go for that job." I mean, to be honest, she spent a fair amount of time up there as it was. You should go. I've already got a job, and then he saw this, and so he's been the secretary manager there for the last 15 years. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So there you go. Right, two more things I'd like to quickly cover off then. Status boards, because you mentioned those, and a lot of people, they absolutely love them. There's no, I can assure you, there's no amber or red on your status boards. When I was there, it was all green, but that's built bespoke for you. I mean, is bespoke the right word? It's
tailored.
Tailored, thank you.
Yeah.
Not your tailor, Geoff, because he's busy with the butler at the moment. I think.
Yeah, different tailor.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it is. Geoff had asked us what we were looking for out of the status boards, and I know because I've been in other companies that have got the system that they have different information, but we wanted basic information that we could see what was due, what was up and coming, and what was overdue, and that suited us.
And you're in the office. You like looking at a status board now?
We do. I don't like seeing a lot of overdue, but we do our best. And to be fair, we've got different lads doing different jobs now, and the dispatch guy who's been in this position for 2 years now, he loves to sort of keep a track on what's due out, not what's overdue. He's looking at what's due out, so he has a good handle on it. When we're going through an expansion at the moment, and we should have a new factory by the start of next year, an extension. But we've already decided that we're going to sort of have status boards specifically in his section, so that he doesn't have to keep walking over to the office to do it. He can see it live where he is.
Brilliant.
That's part of sort of our plans. We're not just investing in machinery; we're going to invest in developing the software as well.
Phil, what you say there about the status boards, to be honest, I think the feedback we often get direct from our customers is that it makes staff almost seem more proactive, because it's almost like keeping up with the board. In fact, there was one guy who said that with the work to lists from the status board. It's like, well, the next job's there. Quickly go and get your paperwork, get your tools ready. You know the job's coming, rather than job's finished. Oh, what should I do next?
We found that with our guys. I mean, obviously being a 50-odd-year-old company, a lot of the guys we had were older guys, and we're trying to get young guys. We've got a lot of younger guys coming through now, and I'm always surprised about how proactive they are in what they can do to help the company. And this is one of the reasons, the status boards, they're looking at sort of being better. And it really does surprise me how good they are, these younger guys coming through.
Great point. Okay. Two final things. I said one, I think, but just a short answer on this one. And other people have been I'm not saying you won't be open on us all. Has the system helped you identify loss-making jobs when you first took it on some time ago? Yeah. Simple.
You can spot it a mile off.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, now if I said to you sort of 15, 20 years ago, by the way, the auditors are coming in next week for your, is it 9001 for your accreditation? How would you feel about that if it was, say, 15, 20 years ago?
Sorry, repeat that, sorry.
If I said to you, cast your mind back sort of 15, 20 years ago, you've got the auditors coming in for your ISO accreditation.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't see the video, but he's just pulled a big face here. What would you, 15, 20 years ago, how would you feel? Don't swear live.
To be fair, we're a small company, sort of 25 people, one site, and it would take the auditors a day to do an ISO 9001 audit. By the time you've sifted all your documents out and can you show me this works order, can you show me that, and you're sifting through filing cabinet, and it takes all day. Now it's effectively traceability report, click, everything you want to look at is on that traceability report.
So if I said to you he's coming in tomorrow, it's a last second audit, it wouldn't worry you?
It wouldn't now, no. I've not been worried about that for a long time, because I know that everything's in order. everything is traceable, and it's a lot easier to see. I don't even have to leave my desk, never mind leave the office.
Brilliant. So there you go, guys. That's been half an hour. It's absolutely flown by. It really has. Absolutely brilliant. So we've learned about the BTMA, Wealdpark, PSL Datatrack. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. A last comment from you, Geoff.
Well, I'd like to say, thank you, Phil, for taking the time to talk openly about your experiences of how you found working with us and the solution we provide you with. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Now, I know, Phil, I know this is going out in a couple of weeks' time, but I understand your tea time is 3:00, so I'll keep it very brief. One final comment from yourself.
Right, so if you're thinking about joining the BTMA, give Peter Hobbs a ring, come to a meeting as a guest and see what we're about. You'll not be disappointed.
There you go. That's it. Gentlemen, it has been very engaging. I hope we've educated, is that the right word? But sort of whet the appetite, A for the BTMA, B for PSL Datatrack, C for Wealdpark, and D for the St Helens Golf Club, is it?
Ashton and Makerfield.
Oh, yeah. Yes, okay, fair enough. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute delight, it really has. Hope everybody's enjoyed listening to this week's MTDCNC podcast, and we hope to join us again soon.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.